Slug FPV. This is the Tinyhawk Freestyle. It's essentially a Tinyhawk S as far as the electronics and the camera and VTX. This is the 600 TVL CMOS camera and transmitter. That's 25 milliwatts, same one that's in the Tinyhawk S. The flight controller is the Maytech F411. It has the 4-in-1, ESC in here. That's 5 amp continuous, and you can actually see the connector right here that would be used if it was in a Tinyhawk S. So the major differences obviously is the frame. This frame is a toothpick style frame, and then also the props here. These are the Avon Rush props, 2.5 inch, and then the motors are quite a bit larger here. They're the 7,000 kV 1103 motors. So other than that, it's really a Tinyhawk S put in a toothpick frame is really what you should think about this. I was flying it last night, and the stock PIDs, I was getting quite a bit of prop wash in turns. So today I was going to try moving to AndyRC's PID settings just to see. I'll link his video below. I did look at his changes. He was dropping the D gains, which I'm not sure is going to work for me. I'm at 5,000 feet, and I'm sure he's quite a bit lower, probably no higher than 1,000 feet, being from the UK. And then I have a third profile that's basically a copy of the stock settings, and I'm going to start reducing the P gains on pitch and roll. And I'm not too anxious to crank up the D gains anymore, because don't want to overheat the motors. But we'll see how it flies, and I'll report back on that. So my conclusion, at least at my altitude, I just took the stock PIDs and reduced the P gains on roll and pitch by 5, and it seems to be flying much better now. I liked my settings at this altitude better than Andy's. Not that Andy's is bad; they're probably great for where he's at. Again, you know, I'm close to a mile high here, so the air is quite a bit thinner. So just lowering the P gains a little bit on pitch and roll, like what he did, but not lowering the D gains, worked for me. I was getting, you know, some prop wash that was fairly noticeable with the stock PIDs I put on Andy's. It was better, but not as good as just leaving the D gains alone. And then I checked the prop temperature and they were fine. Or I should say the motor temperatures were fine. So I'll go ahead and show you my PIDs. And again, essentially I didn't do, you know, the only thing I did was drop pitch and roll P gains by 5. And that seemed to be the winning ticket for me. So let's go ahead and I'll go through what I modified only slightly. I did put a tie wrap here just to hold the VTX higher up so that it's above the batteries, and that seemed to help with reception. I know some people are tying it into the buckle. That was a little clunky for me just because I want to be able to easily take the battery out of the battery holder here, or straps. The other thing I did is I went ahead and, you know, added a tie wrap for the receiver. And then also this thing, there's no battery pad for it, so I just had some excess battery pad. You know, I just had some strips here. Go ahead and show you that I added here, and then that holds the batteries in place. So with that, you know, the pros of this thing, it's definitely lightweight. It flies great. It's really fun to fly. And I was getting 5 minutes, 40 seconds of flight and still had plenty left in the battery. I could have gone further, which I don't want to, you know, damage the batteries, but I was nowhere close to that voltage yet. But yeah, it flies for a long period of time. These Avon props, I think I'm going to look at them for some of my other toothpick quads, because I really like these. So overall, this is definitely a thumbs up. I think that you know, if you're you know, an intermediate and beginning pilots, I still recommend going with the Whoop class that you can fly indoors and outdoors. This thing is pretty fast, and maybe if you flew it on 1S, that would be better, and slow it down a little bit. But yeah, this thing is a great little flyer. I like the frame geometry, and yeah, it is one of the better flying toothpick type quads that I have. So definitely giving it thumbs up. Of course, you know, the same complaints that everybody else has about it. It'd be nice if it had adjustable camera angle here, but I found the camera angle was fine for me. I mean, there are these slots up here, so you could increase the angle. You have 2 positions here, but it would be, you know, nicer if it was on a little TPU holder here. Might have been better, but I like the angle that it came stock with, which is probably about 20 degrees, which is, for my type of flying, is fine. You know, like the idea of being able to use all my 450 mAh batteries that I have for my Tinyhawks. So from that aspect, I think it's nice. And as far as being able to fly proximity, you saw me zooming around real close in. So yeah, this definitely is a backyard flyer as far as the toothpick goes. And you know, I would definitely give this one thumbs up. So with that, appreciate you watching my channel.